For going ahead, I wanted to understand what is listener. Anyone?
Yeah, the process of DNS queries forwarded by the registrar towards our GTM, and the first door where that query hits is on the listener. That's my understanding.
That is totally correct. We create a listener on the GTM. It is bit like a virtual server where you create UDP 53, one IP address. This IP address generally is from your self IP. Okay. External self IP, maybe I can say. Okay. And this is the listener. So listener has an IP over the UDP 53.4. Right? Yes or no? Now, my second question, why we need to create TCP 53 listener on the same IP?
When we try to migrate the zone from local DNS to the GTM, I think.
So one use case you told during the zone transfer, we talked
Zone
about
transfer, yeah.
that we need a TCP 53. That is very much
Secure
correct.
link, yeah.
Yes. Second, see what happened. Sometimes your DNS query may be larger than 4096 bytes. Okay. In that case, if such is the case, it will go to the TCP listener only. Okay. Any doubt?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, sure.
Then, when any query come to the listener, which daemon got invoked or start?
Big IP3D?
No, it's GTMD.
Oh, sorry.
Remember?
Yeah.
GTMD.
Yeah. I got you. Earlier you mentioned in the very initial class. Yeah, thank you.
Right. See, today I need to, talk about all of the concepts again so that both of you are on the same page. Right. So that is the reason I am telling you. Okay. So when a DNS query is received by a GTM system, there are several different methods that may be used to resolve the query. Okay. What are those?
Express DNS and cache. First
No.
cache, then next.
Main is, if I will talk about main, either it is intelligent.
Yeah, first one. Yeah.
Intelligent DNS resolution, or it can be accelerate DNS resolution. Subtype, maybe I will come into the picture. Okay. I will gonna talk about that. I will ask about that. But these are the 2 points, right? Any doubts so far?
No, thank you.
Okay. Now, as I told you, listener is a special object. When any query will come to the listener, it will check either I need to resolve it intelligently or through the accelerated DNS resolution. Now let's talk about just an overview. Intelligent DNS resolution. What is this?
Wide IP, where
Correct.
the wide IP is
When a
configured.
DNS query arrives, DNS query arrive on listener, right? Listener will check, do I have a wide IP, right? And if you have the wide IP available, it means you have the intelligent DNS resolution for sure, right? But let us say you don't have intelligent DNS resolution. Okay. Second case is accelerated. Now, in this case, how our traffic, sorry, our DNS query will be handled? Anybody?
Yeah, I think it checked the cache, I mean, method. If it is configured on the GTM first, then it see the,
Right,
I
right.
think,
I am gonna talk about the sequence or the flow. Don't worry. But
yes.
you can just give any names, whatever
Yeah, there
you.
are three, four methods. First, it checked the big wide IP. If it is not, then accelerated. Accelerated has the different methods. I can't remember that.
It's
So
all right.
yeah,
So GTM system can accelerate DNS resolution by defining maybe different DNS servers. So I am telling you one way. You have different DNS servers. These are your DNS servers. Cool. Okay. DNS server 1, DNS server 2, DNS server 3. And in front of that, you have GTM. GTM can create something, a pool out of it, and do the load balancing. First packet here, second packet here, third packet here. That GTM can able to do. Okay. So when any DNS query arrives on GTM, okay, but obvious destined for your listener, the query is load balanced across the pool of DNS server. Are you getting my point? So we
yes,
can
yeah,
define a pool of what? DNS servers. These are the maybe Microsoft, maybe Bind or any other. So it can be anything. So there can be a pool of servers. Similarly, there can be lot of other, uh, what to say. Let me just create a flow chart probably for the same, so that you people can able to recall it, how we can, check for the same. So let us just create here. Your DNS query arrived on GTM listener, right? It will check, do I have wide IP? If I have wide IP, very simple, it is an intelligent DNS resolution. If not, let us say no, then it will check, do I have DNS Express? Okay. DNS Express zone is the zone transfer. Remember? If yes, then this is your accelerated DNS resolution. Now, if it is also not there, no. Then it will check, do I have DNS cache available? Again, cache can be of further types that we will gonna check. But I am just giving you an overview of your flowchart. If I have DNS cache available, again your resolution happened, and this is also accelerated DNS resolution. Now, if your DNS cache is also not available, then what I was talking about previously, that do your listener has a pool of what? DNS servers. If yes, again your query will be forwarded to there, and you will be having a load balancing kind of stuff. It also probably you can say that it is an accelerated DNS resolution, bit like. Okay, you are doing a load balancing. Let me just minimize it.
Over here in the load balancing, is that the Robin, or we can put the different methods or the mechanism for load balancing?
Yes, so it is round.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let us say if it is also not there, right? Then there is something named as uh, you can have on the listener something like it act as a local bind. Okay, like you are creating some kind of zones, but not like the wide IP. Okay, you are doing it as a local bind. Again, your resolution will happen, but it's not a good solution. It's bit like your local bind server. You are using your very expensive machine as a bind server. Even if it is also not there, it will check listener is self IP or no. If it is a self IP, the query will be dropped. Okay, because it's a self IP, it's me, and I have already checked that there is nothing, I will drop it. Okay, if yes. If no, it means your listener is somebody else, which is a maybe I can say designated DNS server. DNS server. So query will go or forwarded to your designated DNS server. Is this point clear? Flowchart is clear to everybody?
Yes.
Let me make it minimize so that you can check.
Yep.
Sorry, Anu?
Yeah, all clear.
Clear, right?
So first, the very first thing, this is the way it is going. The request comes. First thing is like it will
Yeah.
by default it will be
So
coming with the
your
listener, then wide IP, then
your
zone express.
request, see, if you remember, there is a client. This client wanted to go to some of the maybe domain. It will go to the top level domain, second level domain, third level domain, or
Yep, yep.
howsoever, and then eventually
Go
to
to
the
the
GTM.
GTM
And GTM where? On the
listener.
listener. Then listener will invoke your GTMD daemon. And
Yeah.
then this whole stuff, flow, the whole flow will come into the picture. That, okay, do I have wide IP? If yes, request will resolve. If no, then request, where request will go and whatever, all of those things will be gonna check.
So DNS Express and local bind doesn't it both would be same
There is a
parameter or
difference. In case of DNS Express, somebody else is a DNS server and you are importing their zone to your F5 GTM box.
Hmm.
But in case of local bind, you are creating the domains inside or zones inside into your F5 GTM. So that would be an authoritative, maybe you can say. You are the one
Okay.
who are managing that specific zones.
Hmm. Okay.
It is very important, guys. If you have any question, any doubt, you can ask.
Page number you mentioned designated DNS. What is
That
the
means if your listener IP is not a self IP, it means that it may be referring to some of the server, DNS server. So the query will be forwarded to that server.
all right? Okay.
Any doubt?
Not for me.
No?
Thank you.
Okay. Now I wanted to understand the traffic flow when you are delegating your DNS domain to the big IP DNS. Okay. So let me just create that. So let us say you have some registrar. And you are hosting a domain abc.com. Okay. This registrar should have an entry of abc.com. And there it should mention some kind of IP address that you need to go to this, server to get all the details. There should be some DNS server, maybe in the external facing or internet facing, I can say. Okay. IP should be 1.1.1.1 for sure. Here you should have maybe www.abc.com, okay, or maybe hr.abc.com, blog.abc.com, jobs.abc.com. Everything should be there. That is one way. So now, if there is a client, this client will go to the LDNS. From LDNS, root, top level domain, and whatever. It is top level domain, let us say. It has an entry that you need to go where? Over here. Second request will come to this side. Here, all the A records are available. Let us say it's need to go to the hr.abc.com. Then it can resolve the IP that for hr.abc.com, you go to 2222 and client understand that I need to make a packet for 22222 and it will go to the server which has the IP 2222. And it should be having an application hr.abc.com. One thing. Right? Second thing, if my DNS is into the picture, F5-GTM. Again, there are some devices. These devices needs to go to maybe sales.abc.com. It is going to the LDNS, right? LDNS will again go to top level domain or howsoever. Let me just create a top level domain here. Okay. It has an entry for abc.com. The name server is 1.1.1.1. Next packet will go to my, let us say, this server, DNS server, which has the IP 1.1.1.1. And it is saying yes for ABC subdomains. For any of the subdomain, you just go to 1.1.1.2. Now 1.1.2 is my GTM. In this GTM, I have a wide IP. In this wide IP, I just created a name sales.abc.com. In this wide IP, I should have a pool. In this pool, I should be having two virtual server. Let us say 2.1.1.1 and 2.1.1.2. Depending upon my load balancing, one of the IP will be get returned, and also it will receive an IP. Let us say in our case 2.1.1.2. The next packet will be flow towards your server, which is having the IP 2.1.1.2, and that is how your application traffic will flow. So blue side is your DNS queries resolution when your F5-GTM is also into the picture. Any doubt?
I'm just grasping all the information. By default, so you have a abc.com, which is the different server. We have added subdomain *abc.com. That could be sales.abc.com. From where the application is going. So this is the first flow is for the DNS. Then second flow is for the application, how the application traffic is moving uh, along with the GTM. Is that correct?
Right, right. So see what happened, what I am telling you. Let me just give you an overview, although you people have heard it multiple times, but just one more time I am repeating. This is a user, this is a server, right? We have layer 7, then layer 4, then layer 3, and then maybe lower layer, right? So if this user wanted to go to sales.abc.com, in the upper layer, layer 7, you just write down it on the browser. On the layer 4, you need to tell either it is TCP, but obviously it should be TCP 80 or maybe TCP over the 443 port. Okay. Then in the layers 3, this is your transport header. Okay. Transport header. This is your message, right? Then you need to apply layer 3 header also, right? Or let me just write down network header, because I write down like that. Network header. In network header, you have source IP, and you need to talk about destination IP.
Yep.
For the same, this is going with your whole DNS query. So earlier, the blue thing was working over here. Once that part is done, then packet will form, and this packet will go to the application server, app server. So if I will just bring up my previous image, this whole stuff in the blue is the DNS query. Once DNS query is done, then application traffic will flow. So here, lower side, I am talking about application traffic, not the DNS, because DNS part is done earlier. Is this point clear?
Yes. So if you scroll back to the previous, sorry if I have not grasped.
No, fine, fine.
This,
You can ask, because this is
so
very important.
so are we in this kind of server? We say it as a secondary or delegated server, because we are using a DNS subdomain, so not the abc.com. So what kind of
Here,
yeah,
here,
yes, yes.
here, we are just forwarding the request. Now, in the GTM, there maybe GTM can be doing load balancing, DNS Express, or lot of other things. It might be the case, or it might be the case it is having wide IP. So in my case, I talked about the wide IP, but there can be DNS servers also. So that is a long, long story. Means DNS resolution happens like in a second, but actually when it comes for the packet flow, we need to understand a very deep level.
So we don't need to the like irrespective of GTM being authoritative or being a primary, secondary, anything. It doesn't matter as long as we have some. We have records. We have record zones and zones, or we have zone records, IP records. So that's what it matters to resolve the DNS query, and then the application traffic flows.
Correct.
And this diagram is a combination of where GTM and LTM both are enabled, or it's only just the
Both are differently, maybe I am saying
enabled. Yeah.
enabled.
Okay.
Right. Any other question?
No, thank you.
Fine. Havan, from your side, everything is clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay. So now in previous lecture, I just went to my GTM device. There I create a listener, okay, which is very easy. Just need to give an IP over the port UDP 53. It will take automatic. This is acting as a virtual server. So you need to remember again, health monitor is a similar concept of our LTM thing. Pool, again, similar concept of our LTM thing. Nodes, again, the similar, concept. So when I went to our GTM, you can see there is a delivery. In the delivery, there is listener. When you click on listener list, you can see we have a listener, right? Let me just delete it. Don't worry. Okay. I just deleted. Before that, Anupma, I hope you attended that class in which I created this list, this specific Linux machine, this machine as an DNS server using the bind, right? You were there. Remember? When I
No,
reboot the, restart
she
the
didn't
services and all.
attend that class, last class.
No, no,
Oh
she
yeah,
was. She was.
the bind. Yes, 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 yes. I thought you were talking about LTM, where we have
No, no,
Sorry
not
for that.
LTM.
Yeah.
this one. Yes, I was there. Yeah, I was
Right.
there.
I do remember she was there because
Mm.
she was suggesting us to reboot the services. Root, root, cd, etc, bind, ls minus al. Remember, we create the NetMinion training forward zone. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
if I will show you cat NetMinion training forward zone, you can able to see um, the name server is this, which has the IP address 10.10.10.5, and I created one HR and sales A record. Since I have HR, the domain is netminiontraining.com. So this area code should resolve to 11112, right? Correct? If you
Yeah.
see here into our picture, this is a test user also, right? This will act as a user. This will act as a management PC as well, both, right? So if it will act as a user, into its command prompt for one question, NS lookup has two ways. What are those?
NS lookup has like to resolution. That's what you're asking?
Two modes, two methods. What are those?
Mm,
One is, remember, interactive, what I talked about in our last class. One is non-interactive. Remember, yes or no?
Yeah.
Maybe you forget the name or something, but you should be able to recall. See, when I am going to the command prompt, right? And in the command prompt, I am just writing down ns lookup google.com. This is non-interactive way, okay? But if I am saying ns lookup, putting the enter, this is an interactive ns lookup.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Got
Here
it.
I can change the server also, like 10.10.30.5, what I talked in the last class. This
Yeah, this.
65 is what? The
Mm,
Linux server. Here
mm,
I can check hr dot,
mm,
okay, NetMinion training.com. So if my connectivity is fine, I will be gonna get the result, and you can see the result is there,
mm,
112, right? If I
mm,
will go back to my Linux machine, there is a sales also that is leading to 22222. Let's check, quickly check. So let me copy this from here. Sales.netminiontraining.com, and you can see here is the result, right?
mm,
So I am using interactive NS lookup currently.
mm,
But this is something when GTM is not into the picture. If you see currently, I am doing the regulation directly. When any regulation is happening, it is just going over here from here to
mm,
Linux machine. GTM is not into the picture at all.
mm.
Any doubt, any question so far?
No.
Okay. Now let's come to the load balancing thing first. Okay. Remember I talked about the load balancing. So we need to see how to do the load balancing of your DNS query. It is bit like the diagram which I created you multiple times. I am just simulating the same thing, which is here is your GTM. After the GTM, there are some DNS servers, right? This diagram I created multiple times. DNS server 1, DNS server
Mm,
2.
mm,
Here, if you see, my query will go to the GTM. On the GTM, this query go back to one of my DNS server. So here, the diagram is same. Maybe the physical connectivity can be seen as differently, but logically it is same. We are just, simulating the above picture. Any doubt?
Uh, I have a use case related doubt. Like instead of GTM, why can't we use LTM for DNS1, DNS2?
We will go
Why?
with the LTM also. Later,
Uh,
later on, we will go with LTM also. But currently, what you are saying, let me just tell you. You are saying,
Instead of enabling the DNS feature, sorry,
yeah, yeah.
that GTM feature, why don't we use LTM feature to use?
Here you want GTM and LTM both. That is what you want?
No. So, for example, we only enable LTM service, and then our server, our upstream
No, 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 no,
servers
no,
will
no. Let me tell
be
you.
DNS.
What we are doing, these are DNS server.
Yes, these are the DNS servers.
DNS server 1,
Hmm.
DNS server 2.
Hmm.
Any query will come over here.
Hmm.
Which query? DNS query I am talking about.
Yes. Hmm.
So if it is an GTM, only then DNS query will come. GTMD will get
Oh,
invoked.
okay.
Okay.
Then only.
And now, because I am going to listener as a pool, so I will load balance among these two servers. So
Hmm.
use case is you have already running with some of the DNS servers. You don't want to decommission them. You want the traffic should be go one by one on the server 1 or on the server 2. Okay, that is how it can be done.
Okay, so yeah, the DNS query or DNS traffic the per se can only be handled by GTM, not by LTM, because LTM does not have a feature to address. Can I say in that way that if I can?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although this can be replicated with LTM also, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Although not a good
Mm,
way, but how we can do on the LTM, we can create a virtual server.
yeah, yeah.
This virtual server may be on the UDP
Has
53,
UDP 553. Yeah, that's what I was. This is what I was
and we
thinking
can
through.
have a GTMs. Sorry, we can have DNS servers.
DNS. Yeah.
Okay. So same
Mm,
way we can, but again,
mm,
only for this solution, we won't,
mm,
buy the GTM license. GTM is
mm,
much, more, I will say, advanced than
mm.
providing the same solution. So
Yeah, the just
if only this is the available solution, then
mm,
no need to go for GTM license. We can work
mm,
with the LTM, if that is
mm.
your question, right?
Yes, that's what.
Okay, sure. Any doubt from you, Avan?
No, thank you very much. Anu, I think uh, your question is, the very relevant. What Sir is going, the all the feature what the GTM can do without
Yeah.
LTM, without any,
Mm,
so all
mm,
the deployment method he is, the teaching us. So definitely other things are coming in the way,
mm,
but it's a very organized way of the the teaching. So I really like this way because every features we are understanding how we can
mhm.
deploy that. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's move forward and go for the very first thing, which is we will put the pool in the listener, which is again not a very good way to configure, right? But yes, it can be one of the solutions. So currently, if I will go to my NS lookup, right? And in my list, currently I don't have any listener. Okay. But if you just go to networks, you go to the self IPs, you can see I have an external self IP 10.10.20.10. I will be gonna in my delivery in the listener, I will just configure the same thing. So I am just configuring a listener UDP. Okay, you can give the like description as per your own. And here, if you see the profile is DNS, let it be DNS profile with UDP. And is there anything else? Pool I am not applying currently. I am clicking on finished. This listener is now configured. If I will go to this listener, you can see there is some statistics. And in this statistics, currently there is nothing. But if I will change the server to 10.10.20.10 and do some kind of maybe inquiry. Now, earlier you saw there was a result, right? There was a result. Why? Because my query was going to Linux server directly. Now, instead of this is my PC, there is my GTM machine, there is a Linux machine. Okay. This Linux machine is connected with GTM and these all are connected. There is a switch in between. Now, earlier my query was going directly to the Linux machine and there I was receiving the answer. But now what I am telling, you go to the GTM. So my query is going like this. And GTM has no clue. All of these wide IP, zone transfer, nothing is there. And that is the reason it is saying query refused. The point number 7, what I described into my whiteboard. Remember? So your query is refused because it is not able to find out anything. And this query must be going to your GTM. If you just refresh this, you can able to see something is coming, right? But it is not able to resolve. Why? Because we don't have anything currently. But if you go to your listener, okay, you can see there is load balancing. And into load balancing, you can have pool and all of those things. So let me go to the delivery. Here I have load balancing. In load balancing, I have node. Let's go to the node list. In the
Excuse me,
node
sir.
list,
I actually just wanted to see, is there any way we can check that, the query is not being resolved on the DNS before going to the making a pool? With regard to the monitoring point of view, I'm just seeing on the specifically on the GTM. Is there any way we can see on GTMs? We have seen, you showed just a few minutes ago, just a couple of minutes ago, that the query is coming to the GTM. But
right,
is there any way we can check that it is not being resolved?
not being resolved. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one answer is here, query refused. So query refused, if you see,
Client side, understood that is clearly shown. It
no.
is refused.
That
Yeah.
is fine. I do understand what you are asking. I will tell that also. But
Thank you.
let me just go to my flow. Remember, query will drop. Theoretically, I talked about these things. And in the point 7, I mentioned that query will be dropped. So client side, when query is refused, it means my GTM has gone through all of these steps. Now, my GTM is not able to get this query for sure. And that through here, in the statistics, you can able to see that this is how my in packet comes and out packet also 3, which means that I sent the packet, but it is not resolved. What the total request? This is all talking about all of those steps. Maybe you can see there. And request rewrites, DNS express, nothing. DNS cache, it's trying to cache something, but that's of no use. Then query question 1. Okay, maybe it's checking for quad A as well.
Hmm.
Then response. See here. This is what I was, talking about.
Hmm.
So query refuse is 3. Why? Because in the response, it does not have anything. If I will make more maybe queries, let's go for HR. Query refused. Now
Yeah.
I will refresh this. You can see here also count increase, and then you go to questions. Questions also increased 3, 4. Okay. Query refused count increased.
Yeah, yeah. That is
So
my question answer.
questions
Thank you.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, 7, and all the 7s are refused. Sorry, Anu, you were saying something. Please go ahead.
No, I was saying the same, like I was seeing the same thing, and there is this one more section where the option was packet drop. So I was thinking whether it should go to that particular section, but nonetheless, this I got the answer.
Okay, fine. So, uh, what I was talking? Yeah, I was talking about listener has a pool. Now, in the listener, I need to put the pool. Go to the load balancing. In the load balancing, first of all, you should have nodes like DNS server 1, DNS server 2. I already created, right? Now, in the same way, I can create a pool. Here you can see, maybe let me create again. DNS server pool. In this pool, currently I am just applying HTTP. That is not a good way. Okay, I will come on to this picture. Now, coming to load balancing. See how many load balancing we have. Again, it is your LTM part, load balancing. Okay. So by default is round robin. Go to the node list. Service port is but obvious 53. But obvious 53. Finished it. Once you finished it, you would be able to see that it is coming up. Now, one thing is, I need to go over here, load balancing, monitors. In the monitors, let me create a health monitor. Maybe I am saying NetMinion training.com. Okay. What it should be? It should be, anybody?
53.
DNS. Yeah. So you can see it is a DNS health monitor and couple of the features come into the picture. What should be the DNS query name? It should be NetMinion training.com. Okay. Getting my point? Receive string should be what? Maybe in our case 101035. You can use, or if you don't want to use, you may, not use this. So I just put an health monitor. Now I'm going to the listener. In the listener, first give me a minute. I didn't put it over the pool. On the pool, let me just go and make it correctly. So you can see this is coming up. Okay. Anti.com is NetMinionTraining.com as the query name. This is a type query. No error should be there. It is query type. Receiving string should be 101035, which is matching for sure. Second server is down. I didn't make that up. That's not an issue because you are already aware about the load balancing part. I just need to talk about how you can apply. Now you go back to the listener list. Under the listener, go to the load balancing. Here, just apply your server pool, update it. And you can see it is available, right? Any doubt? Question? Will it be able to resolve now? Yes. Why? No. Why?
Because hr.netmillion record is not there. This is only no, I think
remember
that
what
is
we did.
yeah. No.
We create
My bad.
an
Yeah.
on the GTM, there is a listener. On the listener, we put a pool. And this pool has two servers. Those servers are which? Linux server 1 and Linux server 2. And on Linux server, all these records available.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So now tell me, either it would be able to resolve. Yes. Then why? No. Then why?
I think yes.
Perfect. Anupama?
Yeah, I think yes, because the configuration shows like we have added both the servers. So yes, I think so.
Right. Now let me put enter.
Mm.
See, something is happening. If you see earlier response and now, there is something else. It's not query refused, right? Let me check with sales maybe. So it is trying to send. If you will go onto our listener statistics, you can able to see that it is trying to send. Total request 15, total response 7, right? And if you see recursion desired, okay, it is sending the query further, but that query is not answered. See, it was only 7 earlier. Now also it is 7. So query refuse time is not increasing. But somehow recursion, where is that recursion? See, It is increasing now. Because it is sending the query. When query is going to the GTM, GTM is trying to send it to the Linux server, but something is happening in between. Are you getting my point? I know what is the issue, but I am, not disclosing you guys because I just